At this time, we will proceed with the agenda, provided if there is no dissent from the board member present. And I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, it looks like we have everyone's here, so present. So we're going to start out with the DHS student report. And
Yeah, sorry.
what?
Turn off.
Sorry. You
My name-
reminded me.
My name is Mel Pedersen, and I'm the 25-26 AFC president at Douglas High School, and I'm here with the student report. I'll first just like to say that this week's been like really busy. All the teachers and students are getting settled back into school, and counselors are like moving around schedules and stuff, and fall sports are in full swing. If you guys want to come to any games, we have a home girls soccer game tomorrow at the Winston-Dillard School, and the football's first home game is this Friday. The biggest changes this year has been the phone ban. Douglas High School doing their best to like implement it. So far so good. We haven't had very many issues. Most of the students are pretty good with it. I mean, it's nice to like get done with school and my phone's like fully charged. So yeah, looking forward to a great year.
All right, thank you. It's not, you don't have to stay for the whole meeting, so if you would, so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. This time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Make sure I can get up tomorrow first.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you guys.
So,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna mention just the enrollment and have a brief forecast. Typical forecast there, kind of double-sided. Kurt and I were actually just talking about this. So our enrollment, 1290, which this time last year we were 1246. So we'll start working with, looks like it's secondary that has a bump. And so we'll start working with the secondary team to kind of determine where these students are coming from. And, you know, I'm sure it could be the Phoenix, and we know that Phoenix shut down. So we'll keep our eye on that. And the kids that we have identified, try to retain them. I know that Phoenix is trying to get open again. Not sure if that'll happen this school year or otherwise, but it's good to see that the number up in regards to the enrollment. Any questions? Obviously, there's not a lot of information there. So we ended, I will just mention in 6-6. So in June, we ended at 1278. So we're even up from where we ended. Yeah, on a less promising, not panic, we talked about it. I think I sent this to you guys. The economic, I'll just give you a quick, brief economic forecast, because the first quarter for the biennium, so 25 to 27 biennium, which the legislative session just ended in the summertime, and we did secure the 11.6 billion that we were looking to get to fully fund education, but this first quarter economic forecast wasn't great. I'm not going to read to you guys, but the 4 bullet points does a good job of some of the reasons why we're seeing that. And then really the 3 key takeaways that I wanted to share with everyone. This news means that it is time to plan, not panic. The positive is that Oregon does have a healthy reserve of about $3.5 billion. And with there still being 21 months left in the current budget cycle, we don't want to obviously panic. We are not alone. There's that second bullet. You know, our partners continue to provide timely information and to advocate for strong educational funding. So COSA and everyone's aware of kind of where we're at economically, and we'll just continue to move forward. And and plan accordingly. And if you guys have any questions, you know, that last sentence, I will say, I will continue to model the highest level of transparency by sharing any and all updates related to economic forecast. That there's a lot of changes that are happening right now, and ultimately, if we have to tap into any reserves, they may have to do so. But you guys can always reach out with any questions. Any questions in regards to business information? Other than that, I don't want to still all these guys. Sanaa made a very good point about how busy it's been for the last couple of weeks, and just we are a little bit ahead of a lot of the districts in the county because we started on Monday the 25th, and so and it's crazy to think it's even September 10th right now, and it's been fast and furious. And so I will I'll leave it to the building principals to talk about the good of the order at the end of the meeting.
Director's report, items of discussion, OSBA implemented policy update.
We did, you guys are probably doing more of these. So we finished a desk audit that Mrs. Kellison had began. And it seemed like at this time of the year, last year, we were doing heavy policy, all the way through December. It was, I think that desk audit, actually November. And so it actually, it's not going to be the same, I promise you. That this is just the single policy recommended OSBA policy updates. And so we got them actually in a timely manner. And so I would ask you guys to look through all of these when you get a chance. I'm not going to go through all of them for you, but that top one is what we had talked about, and Sanaa actually brought it up in her report, that personal electronic device policy. So that's right there on the top for us. So this will be our first reading, and then we'll have another reading if you guys have any recommended changes. Michelle and Gianna and Craig and Jeff and I all met to review not just the executive order, but the policy itself. And that's kind of where we landed on. So if someone were to ask that really the first paragraph, student use of a personal electronic device is prohibited from the start of regular instructional hours until the end of regular instructional hours, except as provided below. And then there's those exceptions. And then the other key paragraph is the one at the bottom of that front page where it says personal electronic devices may be kept by students in lockers or backpacks, but personal electronic devices are not to be stored on the student's person or in the student's clothing during regular instructional hours. And so that's kind of where we're landing. That's what we've determined as a team, that that's what our policy is going to be. There is more to it. You know, part of the executive order is that you'll have, punitive, there'll be discipline and the rest of it. And so you can kind of read through what the first instance of non-compliance all the way beyond the third. And then Craig and the secondary team is already implementing, I would say that you guys want to talk about what you guys are doing in terms of the implementation.
We kind of did not a slow start, but right now, off and away during class periods, but right now during the passing periods, they're able to have them because it doesn't go until July 1 or January 1. So, when it gets that policy is funny because we all interpret it, such a different, the wording is, well, I look at it this way, and Jeff looked at it, Michelle looked at it one way, Jan looked at it another, so we had to come together and kind of, for us, bell to bell in high school is when a bell rings first period, ends first period, is that bell to bell? Passing periods, can they have them? So it's like the interpretation was not there. So Mr. Wilson told us what it really was. So, so we went with that. So, but the kids are doing really well. We've had a few hiccups along the way with some phones, which we're going to. But for the most part, so far we're doing really well. Jeff, you can go over the discipline part. How we do that?
Yeah, we've actually mirrored what's on there, what you guys see in front of you, pretty close as far as the reminders, right? And then it's the confiscation Into the third, where, hey, we're checking in at the front office, and then after that, it's considered a different disciplinary category. So it's just that cycle of, slow progression into, hey, our expectation, right? We know kids they're addictive things and they rely on them. And so we're really trying to work with our kids to, hey, we're moving in that direction. We're not trying to be too punitive and just work towards, hey, we can learn more and do better in class. And hopefully we get that realization as we get to January 1, and then we have a little bit harder implementation put in. So.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, which is what we were looking for when we talked about it, not ripping the Band-Aid off, sort of, just the slow roll and, getting the kids acclimated to it and understanding what the policy is. So, I encourage you to read through that, and if we need to make any adjustments, we'll do our second reading and hopefully adopt on, October 8th? October 8th, is our next board meeting.
Yeah.
And so then we'll have this policy adopted, and then that'll give, the secondary admin team to continue to have those conversations with their students. And then the implementation of this policy will be technically January 1st. Sorry, that was long-winded, but I wanted to really make sure that you guys, have a chance to weigh in on that too, if you are hearing anything, so in regards to the cell phone policies.
So far, it's been pretty quiet.
Honestly, yeah, and I think that it's been helpful. It's been helpful that we have taken it slow, I think.
We got adopted on Parent Square though, Kevin sent out a big thing on Parent Square before school started, we did, and everybody sent stuff out, they knew it was coming.
Yeah. And I think that as we move forward too, just building around that communication plan about how it's a positive. And not, it's positive for them to, get, be detached from that device while they're in school and really trying to incentivize and trying to find a way to communicate with everyone that we're doing this for the best mental and emotional and social health for our kiddos. So I think that'll be important. Yeah, annual Title I parent notification. So just per the policy, the IGBC, the district shall meet with parents annually to provide information regarding the Title I programs and policy requirements. And so that'll happen at our parent night, and then the Broadway and McGovern and the alternative school are all Title I schools. So as they have their welcome, you guys want to talk about that, Jenny, Lisa?
Okay, I'll explain just what Title I is, if you
Sure.
guys don't know.
Great.
It's basically, based off of, poverty levels in the schools, and for Broadway, McGovern, and the Alt have the highest. So we are required, we get extra funding for those schools, and we, pay for, reading, anything to do with reading, math, behavior, mental health, we can use it for all of that.
So at our open house that we'll have around the 18th, it's when we share out information about our Title I plan and our program in our district, or actually in our school, I'm sorry. And our learning specialist usually leads that and helps answer questions that parents have.
And governance will look a little bit different this year because we don't have a person that's designated as the Title I teacher, like Broadway does. And so it'll most likely be a booth that we're going to set up, and we'll have brochures, and we'll talk to families. I'll probably speak with the families as well about what Title I is and how we're utilizing this one.
These all the same night.
They're open houses. Open houses on different.
And if all, our title funding there, we pay for, math teacher. And extra to help with the math.
Dave, you want to talk about the integrated? Sorry, go ahead. You want to move on? No. Any Title I questions? I'm just gonna ask if anybody else has anything else to say.
Yeah, in your packet for your approval is the integrated plan report. It's actually a report based on the 22-23 to 23-24 school year. So it's a report that we have to make to ODE based upon what you might consider fairly old data. But it is required for some of the funding that we receive, specifically the early literacy funding and the high school success funding. So it's just basically a report that how we're doing in those areas and how we're progressing towards the goals that they set. And we're actually making good progress. So I think that's encouraging. Any specific questions, feel free to throw them out. But as you're aware, it's 2-year-old data, and so it's kind of we're several years beyond that right now.
And the data we want to share, they say don't share.
Yes, it's embargoed, but I have a copy of it right here.
Yeah, 7B there, the OSBA Roadshow. Jasmine and I attended that last year. That's just, they'll be back and they'll talk. And so Oregon School Board Association will just, it was a big session, big legislative session that just ended. So I'm sure they'll have lots to talk about, to include probably cell phone ban policies. But if you guys are interested, if any of you guys are interested in going to that, the Douglas ESD over there on Diamond Lake will they'll host it on October 21st. So dinner at 6, and then they did at 6:30 a short meeting, and it's good, pretty good informational, and the fact that it's close. So if you are interested, could you let us, Michelle and I know, and then we can reach out to Cindy Doyle and get people signed up. And then in that same vein, the annual convention up in Portland is November 6th and 8th. So the theme is building bridges to student success. So if anyone on the board is interested in attending that, just please let Michelle know as soon as possible. There's in the board packet there's with the OSBA recommended policy updates. They also share at the same time the recommended student handbooks updates. And so there's BES, LES, and MES and WMS have all shared their handbooks with new updates in the board packet. So I encourage you to read through those. Yeah, I think there were 3 or 4 on there. I'm trying to find where else that's package. Yeah. There's a lot of policy. Yeah. Good fire starter. Yeah. When you take it home. Field trip requests. I think there's 3 or 4 on there. So they're starting to come in. Yeah, a lot of reading. Yeah. All right, move on to adoption of the consent agenda. Anyone have any questions on anything on that?
The only question I had was back on the device. The cellular phone device. Is this an appropriate time to ask that question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so on the exemption form, it says the exemption form is for the school year, but the denial is for 12 months. I'm just wondering if maybe the denial should be for the school year as well. So it says denied request may be resubmitted if circumstances change or after 12 months. My thought is that the exemption is for the school year. Right, it should be cohesive and also say the beginning of the school year.
So if it happened in the middle of the school year,
You could still
Then-
from the next.
Yeah,
the whole next school year, or?
yeah, I mean, this exemption form is for the school year.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering if the denial should also be for the school year and not a full 12 months.
Okay.
My thought on that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a really good point. So if you lost your privilege at the end of the year,
Or you have an exemption for.
It didn't start over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Because every exemption has to be done each year.
Yeah, that should, yeah.
Yeah.
That should be.
Well, and then on that note though, Susan, at the very, at the bottom,
Uh-huh.
and I spoke to Susan about this.
It could be missing something.
No, I was just saying the maximum, this is something that our committee, when we looked at this, the request for personal electronic device exception.
Mhm.
And then at the bottom there where it has the little one, it says the maximum duration of the exemption is, we have options there. I just chose the end of the current school year. So that's something I can talk to the team about too, about, because it says you can choose 1 year for the end of the current school year or the end of the student's enrollment at the school. But there's options for that too.
Mhm.
I just thought that at the end of the current school year seemed like the most appropriate time. Yeah. But I guess it's, we'll start to, once this goes into effect and these exceptions start rolling in, we don't really have a lot of experience right now about what they look like, so.
It would just seem that it's easier to start everybody fresh at the beginning of the school year rather than going, oh, wait, you got the 12 months. So
They have an exemption for two months, but they'd still have to start over at the beginning of the next school year.
So the language would be denied request may be resubmitted if circumstances change or at the end of the school year.
or beginning of the new school year.
So, yeah.
Or after the end of the school year.
Yeah, I think it's a good catch. I can make that change. Do you all agree on that?
Yeah. it's
I
great.
think it makes more sense. I move the Winston-Dillard School District Board of Directors approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? Motion carried. Action item.
I don't think I, oh.
Go.
Want to read the description or you want me to?
Yeah, okay. Winston Community Partnership, after-school youth program, team center subscription and renewal of partnership to provide after-school academic enrichment programs under the management of the Winston Teen Center for students. The total cost of $22,000 for under the, for services from August 25th through 2025 to June 10th of 2026.
We talked about this last year,
Yeah, it went up.
and I felt like they didn't give us answers like we wanted. I felt like, do I remember that right? When we approved this last year, I don't even remember what the cost was, but I had asked how many students they serviced of ours, because that's 10 months, $22,000. And I felt like when we reached out, and my memory could be wrong, but I felt like when we reached out to ask those questions,
Yeah, you're right.
there wasn't really a lot of, like, I felt like we asked,
Not sure
to
if we even got a
see a
response.
copy of it. I think that's what happened, is I don't think we even got a response, because I wanted to see, or I was hoping we could see like their budget and where our what the 22,000 is spent on, how many kids are we servicing, 100 kids in that 10 months or 12 kids in that 10 months? And what is the 22,000 spent on? Is it food? Is it helpers? Is it, but I felt like we reached out and they didn't respond, and
Well, I've been down there several times, and there's quite a few kids.
yeah, no, and I wasn't,
I don't know, I know what you're saying.
yeah, I just felt like I think that I would like to know some more information about it, just so we know.
I feel like we did get that, but maybe we just didn't share that with you. I don't know. I mean, that's not on purpose.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but I thought we talked about it all the time, but it was like,
I'll look at the minutes and then I'll check with Roxanne and see if that she can provide that information.
The price is the same. It has been. So 20, they wanted, I think, more, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
They asked for more last year.
yeah, I think that's what brought it up.
28.
20, yeah, wasn't it? Yeah.
But I do think, I don't know, maybe Dave and Rob can, and Michelle know how many students go over after school.
I would say it's between 5 and 10 a day, and they do a really good job of tracking that. And so if the request were made, I'm sure that they could provide a hard number.
And more just was curious, like what the money goes toward. I'm sure it's a great program, and I'm sure they spend money, I don't have any reason to think otherwise. I felt like we just weren't provided with the information, so I'm curious.
And from what I understand, it costs quite a bit to run this event in that.
Mhm.
But it does cover someone's salary, food, and the, activities that they do.
And then they have outside
And the
domains from other.
I don't know how they get their other,
Yeah, I think they do a lot of grants. They get a lot of grants.
Yeah.
Apply for a lot of grants as a nonprofit.
I think it sounds
They
like,
can share that information with us too.
yeah, I feel like I would like to know, but I don't necessarily think we need to hold up approving it if everybody's in, but I would like to know that just out of curiosity.
Absolutely.
I think Eric will, I think we want there, and Eric will, we're gonna go in and talk to them a couple times. If he didn't,
Yeah.
they'll do the stuff and then
Yeah,
homework, everything. So they got, I think they have people that will help them with their homework, they.
yeah,
I think they actually have little, have to meet, like, there's some criteria before you can, play, they have a pool table and whatnot.
Yeah.
You have to meet a criteria before you can engage in those activities.
yeah. It seems like a really cool place, and especially helping with the homework and math or
Give them
whatever.
somewhere to go to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Have you heard from them, Rob, or?
Not yet.
We sent them your way, and then, because obviously they feel like they're close to them. And,
I haven't talked to Rob yet this year.
okay, yeah, I think she'll be reaching out, because you're so close proximity, you know. A lot of your students go there. Yeah.
So is it possible to get some information there?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I've made some notes. And I'll look at the minutes too, because I think you're right. I think that we had talked about this last year, and I'll follow up and see if Kim.
I do
Whether
believe we
she's
did
still-
get something because at one point I didn't know if we were gonna have it in the budget, and so they were sending me a lot of things. Yeah.
I can report back next month.
Or we can email it back, you just email it out to
If
them.
it's
Yeah.
a minute, yeah,
Yeah.
if you're all right with that.
Oh, I
We have a motion for.
I move that Winston-Dillard School District Board of Directors approve a partnership with Wake Up for the after-school youth program managed by Winston Teen Center for an annual cost of $22,000.
And second, that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, no opposed, motion carried. Moving on.
Yeah.
Good. Communication. Yeah. Nope. You know, for the good of the order.
Sure. It's been a
Been a
wild start. Been a lot of tired nights, but a lot of good things going. One thing that then talked about is homecoming will be on October 4th. The dance will be up at the high school. So if you guys want to chaperone.
Oh, I thought we were just
Any of you,
gonna
Right.
Well,
go.
it's good pay, so just come on out. Hey, with cookies and punch. So come on out. But the cell phone's been going well. The kids, they're starting to adapt on some of the new environment up there. And all the field trips are starting to go. Our FFA's went on their big leadership retreat last weekend. A lot of the kids are pretty excited about it. So sports are all in full swing right now. Come up Friday night to the first home football game. Volleyball is doing real well, cross country, and so things are going well.
Honestly, on the cell phone thing, high school, you guys are gonna see it more than
anywhere else, are the kids freaking out about it, or are they just? Honestly,
It's just, it just depends on the person.
really?
Yeah,
So they-
I think overall,
How are the teachers liking it?
they like it. Yeah, they like it. So,
It seems like it would help.
yeah, it's going to, once it all.
Yeah,
yeah. I think we were a little more nervous than most, but,
Oh, yeah, scary.
Yeah.
Try and tell them that something that's in
Yeah.
their hand all the time, you can't have it in their hand all the time. Yeah.
Right?
Policy include teachers. Or is that a separate policy?
we're
I thought
working-
that's what we were reading initially.
Yeah.
Yes. There are some expectations that we have for teachers as well. Absolutely. Yeah.
We have our.
a lot of our stuff's got, all of our emergency stuff, a lot of it goes to our phones, after and stuff, so they're always, that's very important, and that's there, but, we do, they're not supposed to be,
Try to model.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we had it wasn't just a one pager, I think it was even more than a one pager, but we
Yeah.
shared, was it 2 pages?
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. We shared the expectations, kind of just guidelines, you know. If you need to use it, you know, if it's in case of emergency, or if you need to use it, that, I'm trying to think of the other expectations that were on there. You know, if it's work related, you know, and specifically talks about if it's, you know, don't use it for personal, don't be using it during the school day for personal, anything personal.
Oh, since you brought that up, is the Raptor program fully?
Yeah. We haven't, it's not a requirement for our staff to have the Raptor app on their cell phone, but we're encouraging for them to be able to, you know, I can just go, you know, I can go on Raptor app.
Yeah, that's not fair.
We don't say all.
We're turning
I mean, I can go to lockdown, so I can slide, so I mean, that was probably 10 or 12 seconds right there, and then I can initiate a lockdown right now. So we're trying to, yeah, which is another thing that we've talked about a lot, about that kind of going against the grain. Don't use your phone, and then we have all these apps that are safety related.
I mean, common sense.
Yeah.
Personal use, you know, but Kevin and I were in a meeting in his office, and the high school had an incident, and I mean, nothing. But it's just, his phone went off and the Raptor alert, it was.
We were in the middle of your interview when it went off one time, weren't we? Michelle? Was it your?
No, it was someone different.
We were in the middle of an interview one time and it went off and we're,
Yeah, someone has a story about the airport. I don't know who, oh, that was Emily, yeah. It goes off at the airport, that's not.
no, yeah. There's an emergency, there's an emergency.
Rob?
You know, echoing Craig, it's been a little bit of a wild start. I am discovering it's, middle school is fun. And so to our wild start, in addition to Raptor and, you know, making sure that we're training and using, we've actually had 2 low risk, but real world opportunities to use a hold and to use a shelter in place. And so, it's been good because we've discovered a couple of little bugs and hiccups that we've been able to work out. Sports, we're off and running. We've got 3 volleyball teams currently undefeated. And I've learned the versatility and the skill set that my assistant has, because Coach Carno is going to keep that streak alive tomorrow. I think he'll field the undefeated volleyball season. Cross country, they've had 2 meets. They placed 4th and 3rd, so we're creeping up. We're moving up in the rankings. Charles Mitchell and Annabelle Gear are our 2 fastest runners. They're leading it. And we had one of our 6th grade students set a new school record at their first cross country meet. Football had their first game tonight. It sounds like 7th grade had a very close loss. And 8th grade will be currently playing. Leadership, we've got a great leadership crew, and so we're excited about what we'll be sending up to the high school. They had an outstanding welcome back assembly, really got into it, had fun, learned that when you're bald, you're going to become a bobblehead for the assembly. And so there's a paper mache image of me in my office. And then we have our first dance, and I'll echo, you're welcome to go ahead and chaperone. Again, it'll be on the 18th, but our guarantee is I'll have you home by 5:30.
Yeah.
And then finally, just in working with the staff, they've really rallied together and working on our PLC models, bringing in some of that information, and they're ready to go chomping at the bit to meet with our Center for High School Success coaches on Friday and really start launching into the structure and the work of, making those positive impacts on our students.
Good, thank you. Emily?
Well, at Looking Glass, we have spent the first few weeks making connections with our kiddos, setting expectations and routines, a lot of fun, wonderful get-to-know-you activities going on in all the different classrooms. Friday, we had our one day that we had kiddos in the building, so it was the one Friday they had to come to school, and to celebrate, we had our very first skate day, and it was so much fun. Even our little pre-Kers put skates on and they attempted skating for the first time. I think Miss Kara, my pre-K teacher, at one time had her hand out like this, and she had one on a thumb, one on a pinky, and one on the other side, and she was trying to get 4 kiddos down the gym. So it was a lot of fun. We also had a lot of parent volunteers come in and help out with that, so that was exciting. This week, we had my K2 team and my 3-5 team meeting in PLCs, looking at their data from the first benchmarking and starting to place kiddos, get kiddos in intervention and whatnot. And we had some really exciting data. We had 4 of our classes show 50% of the kiddos in the class at or above benchmark already. So that was really exciting. We have some really exciting math PD coming up this Friday, looking at our fruit salad, which is not our kiddos turning into fruit, but how they rotate in math groups. So we have someone coming in to go over fruit salad routines and whatnot. And then the most exciting share was Dina Nuremberg from Stanford Children was in my building today. She is like a coach for principals. So she's coaching us on how to better our leadership and improve our early literacy in our building. And so it was the first time she'd ever been in my building, and she walked through, we spent 2 hours going into the classroom, watching teachers and whatnot, watching instruction. And when we were debriefing, one of the great things she said was about our school culture. She said, wow, your students really feel seen and heard in your building. And so that was great to get to go back to my staff and tell them, because they put so much work into our core values and our mission and vision. And so that just shows that what they're doing is really paying off. That was exciting.
Thank you. Dana?
Yeah, so it's been busy, like Craig said, everybody said. We were departmentalized this year at McGovern, as you know, and so we've just been working on a lot of the technical adjustments to that and how to make that go smoothly. It's been a lot of our focus, in addition to, building relationships with the kiddos and going over expectations and all those things you do at the beginning of the school year. To support teachers, we have a lot of mentors who are coming into our building. We have mentors from the ENC coming in, working with new teachers. We have Norma, who is our mentor teacher in the building as well, and she'll be working with our newer teachers. We have our early literacy coach, Crystal Plickett, who came in. She spent 2 hours with each of our ELA teachers yesterday individually and planned lessons for the next 2 weeks with them and made sure that they had a good start. And she's in our building a lot more this year than last year, and we're really excited about that. And we have a math consultant coming in. She'll be in later this month to work with math teachers. And then, as Emily mentioned, Dana Nuremberg came in. We walked around and went to the classroom. She also spoke very highly of McGovern culture and how nice our teachers were to the students. How happy our students were, and just the good things that we have going on. And then we also talked about things that we need to work on, and so that was really exciting because that's what we want to do, or we want to improve. And then we had a rules rodeo on Friday. We tried to make it a spirit day to see if we could get more kiddos to show up. We have a great picture we'll share with you guys.
of all the staff dressed up. So that was really fun. And we have ways to improve it for next year. We have open house on October 2nd this year. And we have a lot of new staff this year and a lot of new IAs. And I've been really, really impressed with the work that they've been doing. Really impressed. It's very exciting to have that support. And then we have electives for 5th grade twice a week on Wednesdays and Thursdays for 30 minutes. And our 5th graders have chosen an elective out of sign language, ukulele, advanced PE, choir, band, and school newspaper, which has been really fun.
Thank you.
I'm gonna follow the theme of this, a crazy start, but a great start at Brockway. I feel like for me and for our school, things started off really smoothly this fall. Little less drama around Brockway's boarding procedures, so that has been going super well. We have, established our routines for dropping kids off and coming into school while using the Raptor system. So I feel really good about that. And we too have been doing all of our benchmark assessing, looking at that data, planning our group. I am really impressed with our new staff that we've hired. So there's quite a few new classroom teachers and support staff that have come in. And so they have worked really hard to join our Brockway culture and team and get to know our staff and our students and families. So that's been great. Our Friday school day, we did have an all-school popcorn and movie day for those that were here, but really the intent of that was to also give our teachers time to dive into that data together and to really think about how they want to start those groups and intervention groups. We have made some changes at Brockway a little bit too on how we're providing that, in that our staff is pushing into the classrooms more and providing support within that classroom instead of pulling groups out of the classroom, with the hopes that there's a lot more cohesion in that instruction. So what's happening in our daily instruction moves into those small groups and that intervention. So we have open house on the 18th. So come on down and we'll have some ice cream. We're also working on kicking off our booster club. Brockway hasn't had a real strong booster club for a while. So I've rallied a few parents to get that going. So our first meeting will follow our open house night the following week on Thursday. And we have some activities planned, typically one a month throughout the school year, and our booster club and our school team will work together to host those and provide a fun activity or evening for families. I want to thank Kyle too in food service. If you can imagine, feeding 3 to 8-year-olds twice a day can be really tricky, and it is running beautifully. Kids are happy about the food that we're serving. They're able to manage all the components of getting their stuff and getting to the classrooms for breakfast and enjoying their lunchtime. And Kyle's done a great job. So I appreciate him and them.
Everybody feel that's been a good move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been awesome.
Good.
Been awesome.
Kim Shigley, give Kim a little round of applause. Yeah, it's been, yeah, it's good, pretty good.
I see our new trash going down there.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, I mean, Shelby's not here, but, yeah, they're shiny and big.
They're shiny for now, but.
right.
And
Couple
so,
good.
you know, and then, yeah, Shelby, they've taken, I think, 3 or 4 loads
It
over.
takes about an hour per
Yeah.
school to pick up, drop off, and they don't have to go as much, but they can go whenever they want, because they have key and, yeah.
And I mean, in terms of just backing up and getting onto the trailer, has been, you said,
And I watched it through the window.
yeah. And then also the first 3 loads that we've taken, Shelby had the receipts.
Yeah, I
We were
know.
looking at the receipts, and they were all 3 less than what when he gave you those original projections of how much it cost, they were between $30 and $50 less than what. he
And that
projected
they were
that
full
to.
loads, yeah.
So
For
That's awesome.
each, per load?
yeah, so I think that he said he, for it, budgeted like $150 per load. And I think one was, what was it, 101 behind. So, and, you know, yeah. We're excited to see, so far, it's,
We don't have to go.
so
Yeah.
I don't think they've done, Emily, have they emptied yours yet? I think that'll be, he's got it all, yeah, Shelby's got it all dialed in regards to what, how often he's going to have to take each bin from each location. So that's been going good so far. Good. Yeah, thanks for that. What else?
They look pretty tired and quiet.
They have been earning their keep.
They're having a hard time keeping their eyes open.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything to add?
I would just like to add that the sixth grader that broke the school record was Tyson Jones.
He sounds familiar.
Job, John.
He got his
All right.
grandma, Jean.
Call the meeting to adjourn. And next regular meeting, regular session meeting for the school district on October 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Good to see you.
It turns out to be like,